This year is all about driving Copilot for Microsoft. But what does that mean for partners? I talked to Wes Budd, who is a partner solutions architect at Microsoft, around where are the opportunities for partners, where can they add value to customers, and what is the actual work they'll be doing. Wes highlights 3 areas where partners can add value to that Copilot conversation. Many thanks to Wes for jumping on the podcast and giving us a real world insight into where Copilot is and what customers are doing and where partners can add value. And many thanks to Audio Code, who are the sponsor of this podcast. Really appreciate their support of everything we're doing at Empowering Cloud. On with the show. Hi, welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. We're talking Copilot on this one. Wes is someone I've talked to a fair bit off the pod, but first time on the pod. He's at Microsoft helping partners kind of develop their Copilot teams, I guess, Copilot proposition. So we're going to dive into the real world, where the partners add value, what are some of the kind of opportunities, some of the challenges. So welcome to the pod, Wes.
Cheers, Tom. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So
long time, first time caller.
yeah, appreciate you coming on. So we're on the record this time. So maybe we could jump into a little bit about your background, because you've been partner side as well in your current role at Microsoft.
Yeah, sure. So a little bit about me. I'm Wes. So currently I'm working at Microsoft as a partner solutions architect. And what that means is that I essentially am helping partners across EMEA in the Copilot Jumpstart program, essentially. So I'm sure many people would have heard of it. There's fairly a decent amount of organizations and partners in it as well. So what that means is that there's this sort of tiering process in the program, where you go from community tier, which is entry level, to ready tier, and then to prioritized tier. And I help partners move through those tiers, and there's a whole bunch of things that need to be looked at, from skilling, readiness, and all of that, and also consulting on their own practice as well, and just making sure that all the parts, and the are there and present, and just making sure that their practice, they basically do what they say, right? in that sense. And then also there's this other part to the program, which is helping partners understand and build Copilot agents as well. So it's quite interesting, because you get partners that are really well informed about agents, and then you've got other partners that are starting at the very beginning and probably never really built anything before as well. So kind of that accessibility of building agents touches on everyone.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, obviously, huge push this FY for Copilot, right? No surprise, it was big last year as well. But that means that all different types of partners are coming into this conversation. And if you were already a Power Platform focused type partner, then building comes very naturally to you, right? But if you were a classic pro services partner, then maybe there's different opportunities and different skilling you need. Yeah.
And it kind of allows you to bring the ideas that you've had in the past to life a little bit more, because you've got access to be able to do it, and it's, again, more accessible to make those agents. So you can have the idea, and then you can go and create the idea, so it's quite nice.
Awesome. So we talked about on the prep, there's kind of 3 major areas where partners can add value, have opportunity with customers. First one, I don't think it'll be a surprise to anybody, but adoption, change management, kind of helping the organization on that journey. Can you dig into what that really means? Like what is the partner doing with or for the customer?
Yeah, so I think when you look at adoption and change management, especially for Copilot, it's, even though Copilot's been out for couple of years now, I think it is. There's still, we're on the adoption curve. There's lots of organizations that are still starting to explore Copilot and what it can do for their organization. And some customers may have purchased a handful of licenses and kind of really not got too far with it. And that's where the opportunity for partners comes in is to help them build that adoption and change program, and especially for like sort of smaller businesses, adoption and change isn't core to their business as well. So partners are really needed within that space, and you can see that as well with like the Jumpstart program, for instance, where in the Ready team you've got like these workshops and engagements that are funded by Microsoft that partners can then go and deliver to customers to support them. You know, so they've bought the licenses, great, but you know they haven't necessarily flipped over to regular usage. So the partners come in and can really help and support the customer and build out that flow of work and that journey to become excellent, if not competent, with Copilot.
And it's quite a big thing for organizations in terms of adoption, because it's not like a software replacing a software. So, you know, a lot of what we did going back to kind of the Lincoln Skype days, like you had some way to meet and now you've got a new meeting platform. Meetings are going to happen, so you have to know how to use it. We're replacing your phone, so you're going to use it because you use a phone. Copilot is, I feel, slightly different, because it's not, it's replacing some of the ways you work, but not in a sort of direct sense. So you have to really proactively start to bring it into your workflow and experiment with it.
Yeah, it's completely new, you know, and yeah, there's some experts out there in the market now. There's been a couple of years of having that, but ultimately your average worker will not have necessarily touched on it. So there's still a very big gap here for adoption and change, and that's, you know, an ongoing process as well, because you know we've seen the rate of change of Copilot just this year, and 9 months in, and yeah, and there'll be more changes coming as well. So it's an ongoing process. So there's an opportunity there for partners, absolutely.
And how does that split between M365 Copilot Chat and M365 Copilot full license? Because everybody pretty much has access to M365 Copilot Chat, and I feel like there's a lot of value in there in the box that's getting overlooked in a lot of cases.
Yeah, well, I think Copilot Chat is essentially more usual to people, you know, because they're used to like kind of speaking to a website or an agent asking for information, and that's what it can do. The only change there obviously is how you ask the question or prompt it, you know, which is something that we've talked about a lot. And so the coaching around that side of thing really is all about the prompting, because the user interface is straightforward and simple. You know, it's you can't get it wrong, but it's just how you interact with it. So change around that, but then around like M365 Copilot, you know, the full version, it's integrated into all of your applications, you know, so like PowerPoint and Excel and all of those things. And again, lots of change required within that to learn how to use it correctly to get the most out of it. So.
And it feels like for partners, if the customer is prepared to kind of fund it beyond the Microsoft funding, it's an ongoing thing, right? Copilot in 2026 is going to be pretty different and more advanced than Copilot is now. So it feels like, certainly following the news and the features and the changes, that there's always more to educate users on and new capabilities. Yeah,
and you know, that's a challenge for partners as well, is staying on top of it, you know, because it's moving so quickly. So it's a really interesting space. I've never seen something move so quickly and change so much. So it's a real investment for partners to keep on top of things. But then that investment makes its return when the customer goes, right, where is Copilot now? Like, what more can we be doing, and what new features are out there? So it's good to build in that cadence and actually build in. It helps essentially build that relationship with the customers even further, really. So like trusted advisor, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of your, like, I feel like a lot of people would guess that there's adoption needed, and the partners have classically played there, and I'm guessing that works particularly well if you're that type of business engaged partner that can have those conversations, do those workshops.
Yeah.
Another one, kind of the second one, is the readiness and security and advisory around deploying it and managing it. And that was touted a lot at the start of the Copilot journeys. Get your data in order, get your access in order. How's that panned out as a partner opportunity?
Yeah, so again, a very strong and compelling opportunity for partners is to be that advisor and help your customers be ready for Copilot. So, back in the old days, when you look at sort of business process automation, one of the things that kind of stopped the whole program from continuing on was the sheer amount of data that you've got in the background, which needed sorting and looking at, and that was a big investment. But now with the obviously Copilot can pull in all the information that you've got within your SharePoint and your file stores. So the important part here now is that yes, there still needs to be a requirement for making sure that the data is current and correct. But you can pull information from like years and years previous, which could be information that was lost and knowledge that was lost that can now be resurfaced. But with that, the caveat is security, of course, and that is a very big aspect to Copilot, to make sure that you're not oversharing and making sure that information shouldn't. Not everyone should have all of the information. And so, to go in and to make so for partners as an opportunity is to go in and make sure that the security measures are set and SharePoint sites are secure and people have the right access. So, and that's still a big piece of work and a big opportunity for security partners, definitely. But
how are Microsoft kind of striking a balance with that? Because it's interesting, because obviously Microsoft are driving adoption of Copilot, so they don't want customers to say, let's pause for 12 months. And I think realistically, most customers don't want to pause for 12 months because they don't want to be left behind in AI. But equally, like, not everybody's got a super tidy SharePoint, if we're honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a balancing act, isn't it? It's like, what can which business units do we think could benefit the most out of the information? But ultimately, as much as you've got various sellers pushing and driving the adoption of Copilot, I'd still advise that there's that real need to make sure you've got your security measures in place. Like, don't skip on that, no matter what anyone tells you.
That's good to hear. So we've got adoption and change management. We've now got a kind of readiness and security and then data stance. And the last one, agents and building business, kind of line of business agents and use cases. And for all the kickoff stuff for this FY, agents was like the most used word. Like, it feels like, and not just in Microsoft, but like kind of in the AI scenario, it feels like agentic and agents is really hot. Like, pretend we don't know what even agents are, because like there's about 7 interpretations. What does that actually mean for a customer?
So agents, you're absolutely right. It's a huge topic, and I'd say last year was all about M365 Copilot. This year, it's really about agents and driving the partner network to use and start building agents and informing customers about agents and what that means. And what does agents mean in the Microsoft world? Well, so you've got essentially 2 versions of agents. You've got agents for individuals and you've got agents for the business. And I would say that your agents within M365 Copilot Chat on the web version, and you can build them in Teams. And we call that the AI Builder. And that is essentially for individuals. So as an example, anyone can, with an M365 Copilot license, can go and build an agent which can pull in information from I don't know, you might be in marketing, for instance, and you visit a whole bunch of different websites on a daily basis to pull out a really interesting LinkedIn post or build a thought leadership piece. So with AI Builder, you can go ahead and build that agent by essentially just pulling in those websites and asking the agent a bunch of questions about it. What's the hot topic this week or this month? What are people most interested in? And start to learn about that rather than scrolling through all of the different websites.
So rather than just going to Copilot generally and asking the question, you're kind of teeing it up to say, these are my preferred sources. This is the way I work. This is what I'm looking for. So when you go and prompt it, it's got all that knowledge of like, oh, okay, I get the use case, I get the scenario, I get the sources. Here's your answer.
Yeah, and it's focusing only on that information source that you're pulling in. And it could be from a SharePoint as well, for instance. And then you've got agents for what I say agents for business, which is which is Copilot Studio. Okay, and that is for essentially like transforming business processes. So if there's a particular team or department that receives hundreds of emails every day, you can go and build the agent to essentially be first line support for those questions that come in. And then if the user still has more questions, then you can create a task or an action which will then pass that information over to a dedicated person, an actual human. And what we see in that space is that like SSE, for instance, they've released a case study a couple of weeks ago about how they've used their agent to transform those types of queries coming in from customers. And they've seen a huge decrease in number of queries coming through to agents, but those to human agents. But those questions that do come into the human agents are the more technical and more time-consuming, sort of that require more deeper technical knowledge to support those customers. So, you've got those agents for individuals for you and I that can go and create quite simply is a retrieval agent, essentially retrieval by just retrieval.
And so for a partner, that might be training a whole bunch of people on what you can do, how to do it, and talking them through how to do it. But essentially, it's supposed to be a kind of a pro user self-service type scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so you kind of bring back in adoption and change on that front and say, look, this is what you can do with your own agents, and you can create that agent for yourself, or you can then publish it onto Teams as well. So your team members can access that agent if it affects them, for instance, or helps them. But then on the Copilot Studio, that's where the real sort of deep work comes in and where the opportunity comes in for the partner, because the customer journey on this essentially is, right, what's your existing business process on this thing, right? On all of these emails that come in, what happens? Let's map that out. And then we'll go away, build a prototype, bring it back to you and show you how it works and operates. And then you can have that engagement of, okay, yep, perfect. This works great, but we need these tweaks and changes, go back, change them up. And that's the value that the partners can bring, because they will have the deep technical knowledge of the Copilot Studio and bringing in the different sources like Power Automate and the autonomous side of things as well. And it's not something that all customers really want to get involved in, because again, it'll be a case of, I don't want to break it. I'm not an expert on it, so I want some help, and just to put my mind at ease at least. So it's
really exciting, because you're working with the business rather than doing infrastructure-y type stuff. So like it's a real, if you get this right, there's a really measurable business impact. And I feel like it's the kind of thing that certainly in bigger organizations I've worked with, you could just end up with a tiger team or a partner that spends forever jumping from BU to BU, country to country, kind of, you know, well, we've done this, how's this work, how's it integrate? Like there's a lot of value to unlock there, but it is a specific skill set to be able to engage with the business and have those type of conversations.
That's right. And that's like kind of real proper advisory and systems integration type business, if you like. And so the other thing with this as well is that on the agent side, you know, you can support a customer with one particular agent, but then what we kind of advise is to host an agentathon. You might have heard of a promptathon a year or so ago, but now agentathons as well. So create an agentathon of going into your customer and inviting all different business units to join that session, and then let the ideas commence, basically. It's a case of, okay, we've built this one agent for this team in this business. This is what we can do. Now, like, what are the problems and challenges that you're facing across different business units that we can improve and change with agents, and then, you know, you get the experts within the business units coming up with really good ideas and that change the organization, and the time to market of a business process, you know, is a lot shorter because of agents now.
And so what's available to partners to kind of skill up on that capability and in terms of engaging with customers? I know there are different programs and funding and workshop templates and stuff.
Yeah, so Microsoft released recently the Skilling Hub, which essentially has all of the, you know, training that you could ever want, really, on Copilot and loads of other things as well. So for M365 Copilot, and also for agents, and it's all in the Skilling Hub, and it's all self-paced learning as well. And the skilling part of it is an essential piece for the ready tier partners in the Jumpstart program as well. And not to forget, you know, we've got the M365 Copilot specialization that's now available within Partner Center that partners can go and work towards achieving. That obviously puts you in real good stead as well. So, but yeah, you used to, obviously there was Microsoft University and Microsoft Learn, but the Skilling Hub, Microsoft Skilling Hub, is the place to go. I think if you Google it, you'll find it fairly easily.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's hope so. Awesome. So really interesting to hear those kind of three areas. Whereas, like if I forced you and you had to pick one, what would you say is the best opportunity out there currently with customers? Is it the readiness? Is it adoption programs? Is it building agent and kind of agentic scenarios?
Well, I'm going to say it's agents. Yeah, like it is transformational, absolutely, and it just there is a lot of what I see, a lot of demand for it, and because customers see the opportunity available to the business, right? So M365 Copilot is the opportunity for all individuals, you know, so to be more productive with less. But then the agent side of things is complete business transformation. Like, we've had an organization may well have had this ongoing issue for many, many years, but they've just not had the resources or time to really go and change it. But now they can. Just like I said, the time to market of the idea to creating the agent to then rolling it out is so much shorter. And, you know, business process automation and change has been a very difficult thing forever. But now it's less difficult. It just takes some thinking. So
yeah, and I also feel like the organization, obviously AI is the talk of everybody everywhere at the moment as well. So it's kind of like the business is open to the conversation, because I'm certainly hearing things like, you know, we can't get left behind compared to our peers, and we want to drive value out of this investment. So I feel like it's a great opportunity to have a conversation with the actual business side about how you can save them time, save them money, make things more efficient. And unfortunately with AI and this kind of stuff, it's not see you in 12 months with this massive project. Actually, it can be weeks and you're showing some kind of result.
Yeah. And, something I don't know if you've come across as well is Microsoft talking about the frontier firm, being an AI first firm, and organizations. And that sparked a lot of interest in the market. And it's like essentially looking at how AI can improve the organization from, front to back.
Awesome. Well, Wes, thanks for breaking that down for us. Really interesting to understand where the opportunities are. If you're a partner, we'll share some links below on kind of some of those training opportunities, different bits and pieces. And if you're a customer who's been listening in, that's a good opportunity to have a conversation with your partners about where they might add value on your Copilot journey.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Tom.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. Nice to catch up on the record and talk again soon.
All right. Cheers.